Alright, the guns featured in this video don't tend to be very popular. Sure, some people use them, but they're nowhere near the most commonly seen weapons in Battlefield 5. And yet they can absolutely dismantle the enemy. But if that's the case, why don't we see them very often? Well, yep, they're skill cannons. Weapons that can be super powerful, but only in the right hands. Hands capable of harnessing their power whilst mitigating their weaknesses. Hence the title about pro players destroying with them. Are there actually any genuine professional players for Battlefield 5 and its pro scene? Maybe not. No, possibly not. But it's a catchy way of putting it. You know what I mean. Super able players. And so today I thought I'd pick out my skill cannons for each class in the game. Be sure to let me know what you think of them, and also if you'd pick the same ones as the true skill cannons, or if you think there are more suitable options. It's just a bit of a fun video, nothing serious. But perhaps you'll get the urge to go and use these beasts and start to do some serious work with them. They're not the easiest to use, but goddamn are they effective. Oh, and yeah, the thumbnail totally looks like I stole it from Teabag Gaming's vault of unused images. Don't worry, I've put out a tweet letting him know. Now, let's get right into this and kick things off with the assault class. I've gone for the AGM-42, a semi-automatic rifle. Seasoned viewers of this channel will likely have heard me talk about this weapon before, as I have done several times. It's my favourite assault gun by a long way, and I think it's massively underrated. It's not going to allow you to fill up the kill feed in one magazine or anything like that, but for winning 1v1s, taking down enemies efficiently and consistently, and being able to compete at literally any range if you know what you're doing, the AG is an absolute powerhouse choice. So it isn't fully automatic, which straight away wipes away the user-friendly spray and pray option that some players like to go for. And you only have 11 rounds maximum to utilise, and that's with the detachable magazine specialisation and having pushed one round into the chamber, so it's not a lot for a semi-auto, especially not one that can fire at 450 rounds per minute and requires 4 body shots to kill. And without the detachable magazine specialization, you only have a maximum of 10 rounds per reload. So if you don't hit your shots consistently, then this weapon will punish you. But if you have a fast trigger finger, good reactions, can stay on target and move from cover to cover effectively, the AG is an exceptional option. Spam firing it isn't the way, not at all in fact, at least not in the traditional manner. It's more so about making sure you're on target and then absolutely hammering that trigger then and only then. At least that is if you want to reduce your time to kill, and if you don't intend to do that, then there's no point picking up the AG. See what I'm saying? This thing is an absolute monster, but only if you have the correct and quite specific skill set. It is not and never will be a popular option in the game. Pretty much every other semi-auto is more forgiving than the AG. They have more rounds, or deal more damage, or don't require the same level of ability to harness for solid performance. And many players go for the M1A1 instead, as it has the same rate of fire, but more rounds per reload. So why is the AG a skill cannon if the M1A1 exists? Why isn't it just an inferior weapon? Because being harder to use doesn't automatically make something a skill cannon. That's a common misconception. Some weapons are just worse than others and aren't worth the trade-off. Well, it's because of one simple but incredibly powerful difference, and something that truly sets the AG apart from the competition. It can two-shot headshot in the way that the higher damage semi-autos can. It's a 450 RPM semi-auto that can kill someone with just 2 shots. This is why I said it can compete at all ranges. It'll confuse your enemies no end if you're good with it, as you rapid fire them down at close to medium range if your trigger finger is on point, and then easily 2-tap them to the dome from long range if you have solid aim. It's phenomenal. I love it, and that's why I think the AGM-42 is the skill cannon of the assault class. Next up, the medic class, and I've selected an SMG as it's essentially what the medic class has been built around in BF5, but I first wanted to give an honourable mention to the weapon you're seeing on screen. It's the Tromboncino, or however you say it, a bolt-action carbine, or carbine. I really don't want to argue about pronunciation today, so pick whichever you want. But I'm giving this one an honourable mention by virtue of it being insanely good if you can consistently land headshots, or you can rapidly and regularly hit centre mass with few missed body shots. There's a strong case for this weapon beating out the fully fledged bolt actions of the Recon class in a lot of ways. For some people this weapon is going to be terrible. I totally get that, and I wasn't a big fan of it myself when I first picked it up either. But I've seen what it can do now. It's never going to be a popular choice, but it can honestly do some nasty damage if used to its full potential, and has obvious advantages over a lot of other weapons in the game. And I picked it ahead of the Commando Carbine due to its higher damage, lower rate of fire and lower ammo capacity, giving it a much greater risk/reward element. But back to the main point, and my overall selection for the skill cannon of the medic class is the Suomi, or Suomi. Again, I'm not doing this pronunciation thing today. And it's a weapon I had neglected for far too long. A weapon that is overlooked by many, in fact. We see so many Stens, Tommy guns, and whatever else, and the Suomi makes a fleeting appearance just here and there. It's a weapon that was seemingly much more regularly selected when the game first released, and the Suomi is actually one of the most lethal weapons in the entire game, but it comes with some stiff requirements to make its selection actually worthwhile. For most, a much easier to use option is going to be better, and the map design of Battlefield 5 doesn't help with so many open areas and long range engagements, hence why I tend to use the Sten for sheer ease of use and consistency at a variety of ranges. But the Suomi is a melt machine if you can keep it on target, and this goes for firing from the hip as well if you're good at it, and especially if you select your specializations with it in mind. The Tommy gun tends to be a much more regularly seen selection, possibly due to its more iconic standing and the slightly more manageable rate of fire. But I tell you what, the Suomi drops bodies lightning fast if you can land your damage. It feels near instantaneous sometimes, a frightening kill time, stunning hip fire, and the option to either grab a 50 round magazine or up the rate of fire to a ridiculous 981 rounds per minute, which is also faster than the Tommy gun's light bolt specialization as well. It's not going to be for everyone. In fact, it's not going to be for many, but for a small number, the Suomi is a top tier death dealer, and that's why I've selected it as the skill cannon of the medic class. Next up, the support class, and another honorable mention here. I've gone for an LMG for my overall pick as it's what I see the support class being built around, machine guns. But I had to give a shout out to the ultimate deleter, the drilling shotgun. A weapon capable of one-shotting the enemy is never to be ignored, but in this case, as it's a shotgun, you obviously have to hit a headshot for those long-range kills, and this is far easier said than done. The rifle round can really turn this thing into a sniper, and then you only have 2 blasts of your standard fire mode per reload, meaning in all circumstances you have to be accurate, and if you are, you'll massacre the opposition. I'm not sure anything screams skill cannon more than that. But onto my actual overall choice, and I've gone for the FG42. Now look people, this is going to split opinion a lot, I know that, and that's why I have my list and you can have yours. But I can't pick an MMG for the ultimate skill cannon, not because it doesn't take skill to use them to a very high level of ability, but because it's so easy to use them at an average or below average level of ability. You can do something extremely simple and easy, and the gun rewards you far more than pretty much any other ones in the game. So with them ruled out, I then went for the FG42 as it's probably got the highest skill ceiling for an LMG and can be frighteningly effective. It's a rarely seen option these days. It only has 20 rounds per reload and it fires at 670 rounds per reload, so you can't be spraying and praying. It also kicks around a bit and the bipod is less useful due to the low ammo count. But if you can land your bullets, it cleans people up very quickly. You can run and gun with it and can get in people's faces, and if you're good, you can still compete with other LMGs and sometimes MMGs at range. Now this is one of those options that moves closer towards crossing the line from skill cannon to just being inferior, but I figure with most other machine gun options in the class not being overly fantastic for close range or a versatile playstyle, the FG maintains its relevancy and advantages to just about cling to the label of being a skill cannon. Much like with the Suomi, the maps don't exactly help, but support didn't offer me too much overall for this concept where machine guns are concerned, due to them all being so easy to use and effective if you just lie down with the bipod. They aren't easy to use in all scenarios, but they're so forgiving for passive play, and so that's why the FG42 is my pick for the skill cannon of the support class. Next up, the Recon class. Again, this was one that I felt would cause some disagreement, and basically I feel like you could pick most of the bolt action rifles for this one and have a strong case, because if you hit headshots consistently, then you're going to be heavily rewarded. If not, then you're likely to get stomped due to the mass amounts of and lethality of semi-autos, self-loading rifles, MMGs and bipoded LMGs. But as I said with the drilling earlier, I can't ignore a weapon that can one-shot someone at any range, but with the absolute requirements of accuracy and consistency. Their rate of fire combined with their body shot damage is pretty laughable when you compare them with the capabilities of many of the weapons in the game. And that's not to say that self-loading rifles can't be skill cannons as well, because I feel like they are. But for those select few people who nail those headshots and land their damage on a regular basis, the bolt action snipers can still reign supreme, making them, in a perfect world of no miss shots, the most lethal weapons in the game. And for my specific selection, as you can see, I've gone for the Gewehr M95, purely because of its high damage and low rate of fire, meaning it's the most rewarding bolt action for hitting your shots, but also the most punishing. That is if you put the boys AT rifle aside, but with its one-shot body shot potential and the limited playstyle it offers, I can't pick that as the ultimate skill cannon. And of course there's always always the argument that if we're talking about headshots, then a faster firing bolt action is a better choice due to the increased performance without the need for the higher damage. So choose your own bolt action to represent the class as you wish. My pick is the Gewehr M95, and that is my skill cannon for the Recon class. And so those are then my skill cannons for the whole of Battlefield 5, and the reasons listed are why pro players or super high ability players can absolutely destroy with them. I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to leave your picks in the comments below, whether you've got the same opinion as me or a different one. If this was fun for you to watch, then it takes no effort to turn on those notifications to stay up to date, as subscriptions aren't very reliable these days, but I'd also obviously appreciate if you'd like, subscribe and join my Discord server in the description and my pinned comment. Here's the board of awesome for the epic people who support the channel on Patreon. They're all absolute heroes, and I love them all deeply and of course often. If you want to join them on the board of awesome, the link to the Patreon page is in the description and my pinned comment. And with that all said, I'm GetGoodGuy, and I'll see you next time. Laters.